What are you selling, gents? It's your boy BucketHatSam. We're back in today for another video. Today's video, I'm going through the West Bromwich Albion 2024-2025 squad, and I'm going to be going through doing my keep, loan, and sell. Yes, we're adding loan in this year because last year I didn't, and you all said add it in. We're going to be going through giving you my thoughts on each of the Albion players because as the time of recording is currently the 8th of May, we have not seen the released and retained list. So there's going to be a few players in this list that may get released or they may be retained. Who knows? But I'm giving you my thoughts. Let's go straight into it. Let's straight away go into Josh Griffiths. Now, Josh Griffiths, for me, straight away in keep. One of the easiest ones, to be honest. I think we all kind of didn't really appreciate how important Alex Palmer was. He was one of those goalkeepers where he was a bit frustrating, but really he was reliable. And I think we've seen when Wildsmith and Griffiths have both come in, I think we've really seen how influential and how important and how good Palmer was really for the Albion. But I think he's been decent since he's come in. He kind of really struggled when he first came. I think it was Bristol, his first game, where he made that mistake. He seemed colossal in the first probably about 85 minutes. And it was that chance right at the end when he let it in underneath him. But bar that, I don't think he's been awful. Yes, I know he made a mistake against Derby. But overall, I think he's been pretty solid, pretty decent. And again, he's always going to have the comparisons to Palmer. But compared to Wildsmith, I think he's a lot better. So I don't mind this straight away in at keep. And I think he's the future for the Albion. And I think over time, because he is still young and he's still inexperienced, those mistakes will probably be removed. I don't think they'll be carrying on for too long. So I'm going straight in with Josh Griffiths in keep. Next, we have got Wildsmith. Now, Wildsmith for me, I'd want to put him in sell. But realistically, he's probably good to have in and around the squad. You need a backup keeper. I'm not going to go straight in and say sell him because that would be ridiculous. Yes, he's been absolutely dreadful when he came in. The mistakes were absolutely appalling. When I think back to Leeds, I think to Sunderland, there are so many games where we can pinpoint and single out moments where he just wasn't good enough. So for me, yes, I'd want to sell him, but realistically, second choice keeper, I don't mind it in and around the squad. And you've got Todd Kane, who is also in the squad, another youngster who can also be in and around, and all of those can be kept, and they can just compete and help each other improve. We need a goalkeeper, so I don't really want to be signing a goalkeeper, so we're going to be keeping him. Next, we have got Carl Bartley. Now, Carl Bartley for me is a really interesting one. Now, some people may disagree with me on this. I'm going to say sell. Now, I know he had his contract extension because of the amount of appearances he made, but for me, I look at Carl Bartley, and it's quite sad. I absolutely was obsessed with him. I thought he was absolutely incredible. Towards the end of the Corberan era, he was really good, and right at the start of the Mowbray era. But then this last kind of quarter of the season for me, once he got that contract extension, I think he's been really poor, and I feel like we've really seen a drop in his performance. Even against Luton at times, he just looked like he couldn't defend. There's so many games where I think about this season towards the end where he just looks like he's played too much now. He looks like his legs are gone. And there's so many times where he was giving the ball back to the opposition. I think about against Derby. I think back to what was the other game? Bristol game. There were so many moments where he's constantly giving the ball away defensively, which is something that he's so strong at normally. So this season, I think overall he had a good season, but towards the end, I think he just looks like he's too old. He looks like he was playing for that contract, and now he's got the contract. He's all comfortable again. I'm not sure. I feel like we need to really be getting in, kind of bleeding in now, blending in these kind of youth players, younger players like we have done with the rest of the squad. The average age has dropped massively, and I think he's a prime example of it. Yes, some people may disagree. He's a leader and things, but I just think the way he's held himself towards the end, just not good enough. I think back to that goal. It was the chance, I think, against Bristol City. Was it Bristol City? There was a chance in a couple of games back where you watch it back and Furlong and Bartley are just walking. It's just not good enough. And then we'll talk about Furlong as well. Personally, I'd also sell Furlong. Now, people may think, what on earth are you on about? Now, I do think we need to invest in a new right back. But again, this is another player that has done it consistently for us, I know, for a while. And he's a 7, 8 out of 10. I've really liked him as a player. But again, towards the end of this season, it's just kind of gone a bit flat. And sometimes you can't just keep these players in and around the squad because it doesn't look like it's working. For me, he's a player where I look at and just think towards the end of the season, he wasn't playing for the club. He looks like, I know there's been links with him to QPR and he's been seen back at QPR and things. And I think we should just let him go because quite clearly he doesn't want to be at the Albion. You saw that towards the end of the season. He's another one of the players that you look at under Mowbray who really let him down. Because I do think, yes, Mowbray's tactics and the way it went wasn't great, wasn't what we needed. But Furlong and Bartley, I feel like, are players that didn't perform under him, players who didn't seem like they wanted to really dig in. And I know we saw Jed Wallace say this in an interview, kind of the comparison from Mowbray to Corberan. Corberan was a very kind of like a dictatorship kind of way he managed. I know that's a bit of a strong word, but kind of the things like the ketchup and things like that, and the meetings and things. And then he's taken to Mowbray, who's quite laissez-faire, laid back, and it kind of didn't work. And these are the kind of players that you look at and you think, you saw a complete change in the way they played. So for me, Furlong probably should be sold, and I feel like there'll be a lot of suitors because he is a decent player. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel like we should really invest in a new right back. Next, we have got Semi Ajayi. Now, Semi Ajayi is one of the players whose contract is expiring. On the 1st of June, so it's not long, but I would keep him. I'd give him a contract extension now. I look at him and just think, when I compare him to Bartley, yes, I know he makes a lot of mistakes and can sometimes be quite frustrating, but in and around the squad, I'd prefer to have Ajayi now than I would Bartley, which seems mental. And I think it's only been recently where I've looked at it. For me, Bartley just hasn't been good enough, and it just looks like he doesn't care anymore. It looks like he just played for that contract. Whereas I look at Ajayi, and I think he's a decent squad player. He can play when he starts. He is a good player. Yes, he makes mistakes, but his pace kind of he can make the mistakes. He can kind of cover himself. I always used to think it with Carl Walker. He's very similar. I'm not saying ability wise, but I'm saying he's very similar to the Carl Walker kind of comparison, where I think if he makes a mistake, his pace will recover. So I think he'd be suited in the system, and he's very good on the ball. And depending on what we want to do, I know it seems to be that we want to be quite a forward-thinking club. I think he has got a place in the squad. I really like him, so I'd be giving him a contract extension, maybe a smaller contract for definite. Next, got Hegem, my favourite player at the Albion. Keep instantly. I absolutely adore this man. I think he's been absolutely incredible this season. I think he's been a breath of fresh air. And between him and Ajayi, if they were a centre back pairing, it'd be a younger pairing, and as well, very, very fast, very big, very strong. It's exactly what we need. These are the kind of players that I really like. I absolutely love everything about Higgham. He's kind of the signing was really bizarre one. I didn't really know what to think and what to expect, but he's come in and been absolutely incredible this season. By far one of the best players. Really, really understands what it means to play for the Albion, because I think he kind of gets it. You see the amount of effort he puts in is absolutely out of this world. So 100% we're having Higgham in keep. One of my favourite players, arguably my favourite player. Next, we have got Caleb Taylor. Now, this is an interesting one. I would say keep. I wouldn't probably loan him out again next year because he's had these loans now. He quite clearly is good enough. Wickham were desperate for him. He played really well this season. We recalled him and he got loaned straight back out. A very interesting one. Yes, we saw him against Bournemouth, I think it was, and he scored in the cup. I haven't really seen much of him. I want to see him play. He's another one that kind of having somebody like an Ajayi next to him, kind of an experienced player, been in and around the division, can really help him. So I like to see him because quite clearly he's good enough for this level. I really think that. So I'm gonna say keep him. I don't want to see him loaned out. I want to see him kind of blended into the squad, and it's good to have a backup. Because if we're getting rid of Bartley, in my opinion, which is what I'd do, sell him. That if we could, I know obviously the clubs aren't going to be wanting to buy these players that I'm going to be saying sell. But in my opinion, if we can, this is a hypothetical. I'd be getting Caleb Taylor in and around the squad, kind of slowly blending him in, bringing him into this team, kind of phasing his minutes in and out the squad. Next, got Fran Botta. So quite clearly not good enough, not trusted by any manager. We're literally playing a centre midfielder at left back, and he's been incredible. But quite clearly, he's not good enough. Simple as that. As exciting as he was as signing when we saw he come from Juventus, got a fancy name, we all got very excited, but he quite clearly isn't good enough. And if we can get a bit of cash for him, that would be incredible, especially for FFP runs because we signed him on a free. Next, we have got Callum Styles. Callum Styles for me is probably the most underrated player in this Albion team. I really like him. Yes, I know he's had a few moments at times. Yes, I think back to the Coventry red card. I was at the game. It was very frustrating. I was really annoyed, to be honest, a bit disappointed in the challenge and things. And at moments he's let himself down. But I still think overall he's been incredible this season. I think he's stepped up massively. I didn't expect him to have as big a role as he has done for the Albion. And he's really made that left back position his own. I really like him. And he's been quite good going forward. So I think, yeah, he's been a breath of fresh air for the Albion. And I'm intrigued because when we first signed him, a lot of the Barnsley fans, a lot of Sunderland fans are messaging me telling me he's useless. But don't get me wrong, he's been incredible. So definitely in to keep. Next, we've got Jed Wallace. Jed Wallace, now, I'm going to say keep. Now, some people may not get why I'm saying this, but I really think Jed Wallace deserves this another contract extension. Just to give it, I know actually he's here for another year, I think. I had a look earlier. His contract isn't up this summer. But I look at him and just think, he gets it. He's good to have in and around. And when you hear him speak, the way he talks, you can see quite clearly he's respected in the dressing room. He's massive for the kind of the youth players to be in and around. See him as a role model player who's played at this level for a long time. He fully gets it. And I really like him. He's been an impact player. Yes, I know he can be a bit frustrating at times, but he was misused at times. He's been playing as a striker and things. He can do a job. He can put in a shift. Squad player wise, I'd definitely keep him. Next, we've got Jason Malumbi. Definitely keep. Completely again. Back to similar to Jed Wallace. We haven't seen him feature as much this season because I think he can be a bit of a liability sometimes. I really like his press and I really like how much he cares, but he does just go off and run. And I know sometimes when you're playing as a structured side, it's not suited, but I definitely think he should be kept again to have in and around the squad. Next, got John Swift. For me, I'd be getting rid of John Swift. Now, it's really sad how it's worked out because for me, John Swift is probably technically the best footballer in the club. And I know people may disagree with me on this and people may come at me for this, but chance creation, it's been incredible for the Albion. Yes, and this is the problem with number 10s now. I always say this, it's a luxury position, and if it doesn't work out, you look awful. And I always think that, and we've never really played to his, like, played exactly into his position. It's not often you actually see him playing in that 10. We've seen him play under Mowbray as kind of a holding midfielder, a box-to-box midfielder. That's not his position, and it can be quite frustrating sometimes with a number 10 when you see them walking around and things, but that is part of the position. I do think he's probably been harshly treated at times. Yes, don't get me wrong, he's been frustrating, and that game against Coventry, I was fuming. But overall, look at his career at the Albion. It's just, it hasn't worked out. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't suit the system. We don't play to his strengths. So it's best that we just part ways. I think he should definitely be leaving on a free, ideally, because we can't sell him. So next, we've got Dean Garner. D and Garner. Now, this is one again that really I sit on the fence with. It depends what day you ask me. This is a player that I really wanted to succeed at the Albion. I think back to that Pereira kind of time when he came on loan and we signed him. It was so exciting. But realistically, we've not really seen anything from him, have we? When we signed him on a permanent, since then he's not been great. The amount of times I've drunkenly said after watching the Albion play, whether it was against Borough last season and in moments, we've got him back. He's back. Realistically, he's shown moments again, glimmers, and there's been a bit of hope that I thought he'd come good, but he's realistically not good enough. And he's on a fat wedge, a lot of high wages. So realistically, I don't think he should be staying at the Albion. I think it's probably best for him to go. And it's a shame because, again, we've got to think about moving forward. And what I'm looking at with a lot of these players in sell, they're going to be on big contracts. Bartley's one of the highest earners. You imagine John Swift will be the same. Dean Garner will be the same. So it's good as well to get some of these players out the door, to get them off the wage bill, to relax the squad, to give us put us in a better position. That's what I see it as, and just think going forward, it will help us in the long run, which is a real shame because I really wanted Dean Garner to come good, but yeah, it's just not worked out. Next, we got Alex Mowat. Definitely in keep. I think he's absolutely huge. Again, another player that's for me is very underrated. And I think there's a massive difference when he doesn't play. And I know some people don't really like him, but I think he's huge for the Albion. The way he breaks up play, the way he dominates the ball, the way when he plays, he completely dictates the pace of the game. And I thought, again, there's been games where you've been crying out for somebody like him because he is so calm and so composed on the ball. I think he's massive for the Albion. So definitely, I'd have him in keep. Next, we've got Josh Madger. Now, this is a very interesting one. Now, as a player, I definitely would keep him. If we can sell him, I'd definitely sell him and cash in on him. Because now, the reasoning, hear me out on this. Now, I feel like we could command quite a good fee. I look at him as a signing. Yes, we sign him on a free. But realistically, yes, when he plays, he scores. He's a natural goal scorer. And he had a great return at the start of the season. And a big reason as to why we performed as well as we did. But if we could command a good fee and we can sign a player that can stay fit, because that's the biggest thing. And I think again, it's similar to the DK kind of thing. It's frustrating when they can't keep fit. So obviously, people may disagree on this. I think there could be some worth in Madger selling because for me, I just look at him and his injury record is just crazy. It's constant. We've had him now for 2 years and we've probably only had him fit for a few months. I don't think that's a good signing. And people may disagree. Yes, I know he scores lots of goals and we've relied on him so much and he's absolutely electric. But he's a burden to the wage bill, and that seems crazy to say. A guy who scored our top goal scorer for the season, I'd sell. Yeah, I know. Seems a bit mental. Maybe you understand where I'm coming from. I just think there's a potential there. We can make a sale, put ourselves in a better financial position, and reinvest in players that can stay fit because he's injured too much. His injury record is ridiculous for me, so I would sell him, and I feel like that seems mental. Next, got Daryl DK. Now this is where I'm going to look like a hypocrite. I want to have him keep. I think I've seen enough of Daryl DK, and you've seen now since he's come back from his injuries, he's kind of shifted the way he's a lot lighter. You can see that when you look at him now, and again now he's still muscly and things because before he was just an absolute brute. It was pure muscle, pure strength, and pure power. Whereas now he seems a little bit more lean, and in the performances we've seen, and what I like to see is well, we've managed his minutes, we've slowly brought him back in, and that performance against Luton, I may be getting ahead of myself, was incredible. I thought he was absolutely huge on that final game of the season. I still think there's time for him to work out, and I really like him. He speaks well. I feel like he could be massive for us next season if he can just stay fit. And I know that might seem ridiculous after what I've just said with Madger, but I think we could make more money from the Madger sale because Madger is a better footballer. Madger yes, he scored a few goals, but as an actual footballer, he's incredible, a creator as well. So yeah, definitely I'd have him in there. Next, got Colin Grant. Colin Grant for me, I've gone complete U-turn. If you asked me this last season, I wasn't a massive fan of him. I didn't have him in keep. I think I said I'd sell him because it didn't work out. I was hoping that we'd see this redemption arc from him after his Coventry loan, Cardiff loan. But he's been absolutely massive for us this season. I think he's been absolutely incredible. And I think that's another reason, another thing that Mowbray got wrong. dropping him. He's been absolutely incredible. When you saw him come back in against Luton and things, back in towards the end of the season, he was incredible. I really like him as a footballer, and I really like the fact that, again, this is somebody where you look at them and you think of the determination. He has got it about him. And sometimes I look at players and you think about mentality. He's shown mentality, that he's a mentality monster, that he's come back. He's come back and performed. He's been rubber. He was pushed aside, cast aside as if he was a bit of rubbish. Come back in, fought position. And you know how difficult it is with Corberán. Corberán used to say this all the time, and people used to say this within the game, that Corberán, if he's made a decision on you, it's very difficult to come back. He's come back and he's been absolutely incredible. So definitely in to keep. Next, we have got Mikey Johnston. Now, definitely into keep. Yes, he's been a bit frustrating at times, but I still think as a squad position, he's definitely got a role, 100%. Next, we have got Tom Fellows. Now, again, this might seem mental. I want to keep him, but he's going to be sold. I'm going to put him in key, but I know he's going to be sold from the Albion because realistically, he's too good for the Albion. I think we've seen that this season. And yes, I've said this before, that sometimes I do think he is very overrated by the Albion fan base and by a lot of people in the EFL. If you watch him week in, week out, he went missing for quite a while this season, but his numbers and his stats are incredible. And that's what people look at. People look at the fact that he got the most assists in the Championship. That's what people look at him as the creator and things. And if we can get a bit of cash from him, that'll be absolutely incredible. But I do still think he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, he should be starting for the Albion. But I do think kind of this pedestal that Albion fans have put him on. Just I think it's a lot of it. It's the thing that we do where you see a youth player come through and you want them to do well. You can't help it. He's one of our own kind of thing. That's what you do. We can't help it. That's the way we're wired, and the way we're wired as football fans. It's the same with every single fan base. But for me, I don't think he's as good as people make out. I want to keep him, but I really think he's going to be sold, and we'll probably get a bit of cash for him. Next, got Diakite. Definitely in keep. I think he's been absolutely incredible again. And I really like the rotation that we've now got in the midfield position. We went from having kind of nobody in there, and we had an aging squad when we had the likes of Livermore in there and players like that. And now we look at it, and Chalobah and players like that. Now we've got Isaac Price, we've got Moet, we've got Diakite, we've got Malumbi, all young players, which is what I really like. So definitely in keep. Again, somebody at the start of the season, I thought, what on earth is this signing? But slowly, as the season's gone on, I think he's really stepped up and he's been massive for the Albion. I really like him. So we're definitely putting him into keep. We'll definitely put him into keep. And then I've realised, sorry, I picked up the wrong player then. Devante Cole. Sell 100%. Devante Cole for me has got to be sold. I look at him as a player, as a signing, and I just think, what are we doing? It doesn't make sense for me. I didn't really understand the signing at the time, and I feel like I say this all the time. I always think the best way in judging the signing that the Albion makes is by going on to the actual club we're buying him from and see the reaction. And the Barnsley fans were saying, "What on earth is this signing? Good luck," and all of this, and we've not seen anything from him. So he's got to be sold. Quite clearly, he isn't good enough. He's not trusted. The fact that we were playing Wallace up top when we had all of our strikers injured, I think that speaks volumes and says enough, doesn't it? So definitely into sell. Next, we have got Bonnie. Now, not really seeing anything from him. Obviously, going to say keep. Again, injury problem since we signed him. We signed him as when he was injured. I like the look of him. He had moments. We've seen it a few times in a few of his performances. He had that one assist. I can't remember who it was against. I was on holiday. I was watching it in a bar in Germany. And I remember he looked like he was a decent player. And with the black boots, he reminded me of Hal Robson-Carney. And I got all excited. And it's good to see him in and around the squad. And I hope to see him more next season. Because again, the majority of the signings that the new owners have made have been incredible. The new scouting network. And I listened to a podcast recently talking about how it's all stat driven and stat based. So hopefully he'll perform just as well as Hegem did. So definitely into keep. And next, Isaac Price, probably the best signing we made in the summer. In January. He was absolutely incredible since he's come in. I really like him. Really good player again for the future. These are the types of signings I want to see the Albion making. Ones where it's not too much money, but it makes sense. You see what the Albion are trying to do here, and you look at it, and it's forward thinking. And again, we'll probably most likely sell him because he is too good for the Albion. But I really like him, and I've realised I've got a loan bit here. I've not got anybody to put in there. I'd probably have put Todd Kane in there. I don't know why Todd Kane, the goalkeeper, isn't on this ranking list. So apologies for that. But I'd have him in loan. But there you go. That is me brutally giving you my opinions. West Brom's loan, keep, and sell. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'm probably going to upset a few Albion fans here with my opinions on like Madger and things like that, and maybe Bartley. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I am trying to get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the calendar year. It's outrageous to suggest that we're going to do it, but I feel like you guys can help me out massively by just clicking the like button and subscribe. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you very soon for more content coming your way. Thank you, and up the baggies. See ya.